Good morning, everyone. It is February 19th, 2018. I'm Eric. I'm going to do a little excerpt here from High Impact Flicks, and the reason will be evident once we get into it.
I don't have any script for this, but somebody sent me this. This is from Randy Richards from Plano, Texas, who took a screenshot of his computer. There's a headline that says, "Former student opens fire at Florida high school in 17." Check out the date. February 12th, 2018. We know the incident at the high school in Florida didn't happen until 2 days later on the 14th, which was Valentine's Day. It says, a former student opened fire with a semi-automatic rifle at a Florida high school Wednesday, killing at least 17. How does this happen? Here's another one. This one right here is from Ohio.com. This one's from the PostGazette.com. There's been a shooting at a high school in Parkland, Florida. Date, February 12th, 2018. Who's got an explanation for this? Now, I was kind of skeptical on this, so I just went ahead and pulled up this headline from Ohio.com to see if it was still there. Check this out. Okay, you can see from my computer screen that it's 2:04 a.m. on February 18th, 2018. Here's that same article from Ohio.com. Former student opens fire at Florida high school, killing 17, 6 days ago. You take 18 minus 6, and you get the 12th, just like we saw with the screenshot that I just showed you. The 12th is 2 days before the event that happened on the 14th took place.
That one was from High Impact Flex. I'll leave a link in the description box. Very good channel. Although this is not High Impact Flicks. So sorry about that. I didn't even check before, but it is a High Impact Flicks video. So I'm trying to find it and leave a link in the description. If not, well, just subscribe to that channel and check out this video in full. Where'd it go? Okay. I'm here at DC Clothesline. This is the history of mass shootings that needs to be heard. I hadn't read all of it yet, but I think it is well worth going over. We all know that last week 17 people were killed in Parkland, Florida. They were students of a middle school. We all know that there's been major problems with the witness testimony, in particular the blonde lady. I say lady, I don't see her as a child because she doesn't look like she's a teenager. Lady there, she makes no mention. Well, first she talks about, seeing the guy and talking to him. She makes no mention, and by the way, hearing shots in a whole nother part of the building. She made no mention of the guns he had, of the smoke grenades, or any kind of equipment, right? I'm sure you all remember that. We all know that these things sometimes happen around or during the time of a drill, which in this case was true. We all know that the cop that was on duty failed in his duties. We all know the FBI failed in their duties because they knew in advance that this guy was dangerous. Now, the parents, they were you know, they failed in their duties. So, with the government constantly failing in their duties to, well, from the way they see it as their duty to protect the citizenry of the country. I don't, but they do. They fail in their very own duties. Self-given duties. And there's always a pattern to these shootings. We get fractured pieces of the story. We get, look at the Las Vegas shooting. Nothing at all about Las Vegas adds up, does it? The same goes for this one. It doesn't add up. So, he asks, or she, I didn't check the name of the author here, does a pattern emerge here similar to other mass shootings and or bombings since 1999? And it does. The outline above makes it clear. Unfortunately, many citizens are not getting it. Now, if you're pro-gun control, with your government, law enforcement, FBI, and so many other failures within the system, do you really trust them to be the only ones with weapons? I mean, we see it every day. Or you can see it every day anyway, on the Free Thought Project, where cops are constantly shooting people with their hands up. They're constantly killing people's pets. They're constantly engaged in sexual misconduct. They're constantly engaged in drug use, and so on and so forth. The FBI, how many times have they dropped the ball on one of these incidents? Many, many times. So if you are the kind of person who wants the government to be the only people with guns, you are fucking stupid. You can think with your emotions and think about all the children who have died because, well, from your point of view, because of guns. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We're already treated pretty badly by our government. In particular, the Democrats. Although I'm the kind of person that would argue that both of them are equally as bad. But for the sake of argument, Democrats. They treat you badly now. How do you think they're going to treat you when you are not able to defend yourself? Well, I venture to say that once the guns are out of the hands of the American people, you're going to see a massive uptick in police killings, in government wrongdoing. So, I'm going to tell you right here and now, if you turn in your weapons to be a law-abiding citizen, you are a fucking idiot and you will die. Don't let the rule of law cloud your overall judgment. These things are man-made. They are the whims of the ruling class, and you do not owe them your obedience. You do not owe them your life or the life of your family. So, don't be an idiot. Don't give them your guns. Don't fall for the bullshit. One clear point in the majority of these instances is the federal law enforcement agency, known as the FBI, had warning, yet dropped the ball in its investigations. Now, many would like to focus on the FBI dropping the ball because of the politicization and bias exhibited by high-ranking FBI officials against constitutionalist Donald Trump. I disagree that Donald Trump is a constitutionalist. Individual God-given, unalienable rights, Christians, patriots, and a plethora of other labels. But some citizens already know where the federal and some state governments stand when it comes to the Second Amendment, meaning the inaction of the FBI is no surprise. Moreover, each time an incident like this occurs, some people, government officials, celebrity activists, and some in the lamestream and media call for government to provide a solution in the form of violating individual, God-given, unalienable rights. No surprise there either. I hate it when I hear someone say, there ought to be a law. No, there ought to be not a law. By saying that there ought to be a law, you're really saying that your point of view is so important that you think people should be killed over it if they go against it. So if we assume the underlying problem in mass shootings is firearms, the assumed solution is gun control or gun confiscation by the government. A government that failed to address a threat about which it received warning. And by the way, the price of ammo is going up, so if you're low, you better get some. The assumption the underlying problem in mass shootings is firearms is incorrect and downright false. It does serve an agenda. Confiscation of guns means government and anti-constitutionalists have full control over the peoples to implement any injustice seen fit to serve its own needs. And of course, we already see this happening. And again, if you think things are bad with the government now, just wait until you don't have weapons anymore. As a society, we are comfortable blaming inanimate objects for the actions of an individual. Anti-constitutionalists are, but only when it involves firearms. There is no call for vehicle confiscation when an individual driving drunk kills another individual in a car accident. The individual is held responsible. What about killings involving knives? No one calls for knife control or confiscation, unless, of course, you live in England. The reason given for not blaming cars, knives, or any other inanimate object, including firearms, for another's death is usually cars and knives are not instruments of mass murder. These objects don't murder multiple individuals in a short period of time and don't instill the fear in many like firearms do. If any of you play Grand Theft Auto, you would know that you can use a car to mow down dozens of people in a very short period of time. Society has a very short memory. How long have firearms been in this republic? Firearms have been in this republic since before this land was a republic. How long have mass shootings involving firearms been occurring outside the mafia wars during the Capone era? According to mysanantonio.com, the first occurred in 1949 when Army veteran Howard Unruh killed 13 people while walking in his neighborhood in Camden, New Jersey. This was shortly after World War II. It took until 1966, 17 years, for the second incident to occur at the University of Texas in Austin. The third incident occurred 18 years later in 1984, with the fourth incident happening in 1986. Looking at that timeline, these mass shootings started occurring more frequently with Columbine in 1999. So, can we really conclude that firearms are the issue when history shows the United States has only recently experienced an uptick in mass shootings involving firearms? Anti-constitutionalists and politicians would like for the public to believe it is because of firearms. However, it isn't. Howard Unruh suffered from paranoid schizophrenia, according to the report. No motive was established for Charles Whitman for the 1966 Texas Tower shootings at the University of Texas, but officials suspected mental illness. James Oliver Hubert E., responsible for the 1984 McDonald's mass shooting, and I remember that, in California, expressed in his wife he suspected he had a mental problem. Pat Sherrill, the post office worker who killed co-workers in Edmond, Oklahoma, was described as Crazy Pat. I remember that too, because he exhibited strange behaviors and was often angry and depressed. Sherrill was a Vietnam War veteran that a psychiatrist suspected of having post-traumatic stress disorder. Luby's cafeteria perpetrator, Howard Hennard, was found to have drugs and alcohol in his system when he killed 23 people and injured 20 others in Killeen, Texas. Hennard committed suicide after his murderous spree. Psychiatrists postulated that Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, I think, perpetrators of Columbine mass shooting, suffered from some type of mental illness. No, those guys just got sick of getting fucked with by everybody. Now listen, if you're the kind of person that picks at people and picks at them and picks at them, expect the worst to happen to you. Because sometimes people get pushed over the edge. And if you're one of the people doing the pushing, maybe you deserve what you get. Just saying. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Well, some of these perpetrators' motives are unclear or not established by law enforcement officials. Clearly, the problem is not the inanimate firearm. Well, how can it be? It takes human participation for the fucking firearm to work in the first place. I mean, the school shooting suspect belonged to white nationalist group. The group dropped the ball. No More Guns chant breaks out at Florida school shooting vigil. NRA Republicans, weak, disgusting cowards. For once, I agree with a fucking libtard. Okay, anyway. Okay. Yet this information on motives for past perpetrators carried in newspapers and reports that anyone can verify on the internet has been hidden from the public by the lamestream media. You get that? Media. Today, many citizens refuse to do their own research to determine where the problem lie that led to these incidences. Beginning in 2009 through the present, incidences of mass shootings began occurring every year, with multiple incidents in some years. For the majority of those years, Democrat Barack Hussein Obama occupied the White House. Democrats control at least one chamber of Congress and federal officials in various departments that fanatically support Democrats, particularly Hillary Clinton, as well as Democrats in both chambers of Congress. And some Republicans have worked to thwart the presidency of Donald Trump. Anyone see another pattern occurring? Let's not forget the total war on traditional values and society that began with President Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson's occupation of the White House and his Great Society program. Johnson, a power-hungry, fanatical Democrat, championed big government and the nanny state. For a good take on part of the problem that occurs with the indoctrination of our children in the school system, read Bradley Dean's article on Freedom Outpost. Warning went unheeded again. Tragedy in Florida. A letter from a student. And to further outline how society has been altered that is leading to continual problems, read Tucker. Psychotropic drugs, social alienation, broken families, war on men, more relevant than gun control. And I did see that Tucker episode, by the way. Does anyone watch Tucker Carlson that subscribes to me? I subscribe to a wide variety of people, including social justice warriors, including Black Lives Matter people, including black people that just want to be left alone in peace. There's a comedian. It's funny as hell. What was his name? damn, I can't remember now. You guys got to see it. He's really funny. He'll have tears rolling down your face. He's so funny. Okay. If firearms were the problem, mass shootings would have been occurring since this republic ratified the Constitution. Yet, that has not been the case. Let me stop right there. Kind of hard to do a mass shooting with a fucking musket now. Come on. You know, a lot of people like to attribute these things to, craziness. Well, I think Tucker Carlson pretty much got it right. Psychotropic drugs, social alienation, broken families, war on men. I mean, people can only take so much shit until they snap. You add to that the psychotropic drugs, you add to that social alienation, you add to that the broken family, the kid longing for the other parent. This seems to have started after World War II and then experienced a lull until the mid-60s, lulled again until the incidences in the 80s, quieted until the 90s, and exploded during the Obama era. The problem is, society has changed, not for the better in some cases, and government has morphed into the nanny police, the nanny police state, with an illegitimate, lawless 44th president who fomented much division, creating patriots out of criminals and criminals out of patriots. The war on the family unit, including values, principles, and morals, the government intrusion into the education, indoctrination of our children, the massive, unrestrained immigration beginning in 1965, rapid expansion of government to control every aspect of citizens' lives, the government's tendency to satisfy big corporations instead of upholding the Constitution and protecting individual God-given unalienable rights, and the application of the law unequally distributed heavily to the growing problems of individuals today. Couple this with the government's marriage to the pharmaceutical industry in order to use a pill for everything from lack of appetite to paranoid schizophrenia has caused just as many problems. Damn, he didn't write that one right. Let me, basically, the medications and the side effects of those medications are causing more problems. And I agree with that. Again, I was on one of these antidepressants a long time ago, and I have to tell you, it was much worse than quitting opiate medication. That's how bad it is. And believe me when I tell you, after you've been on opiate medication for a while, it's pretty fucking hard. So, and the SSRIs are much harder. For one, they cut you off from your feelings, and then when you stop taking them, all those feelings that you've been suppressing come flooding back, and it's very hard to take. Instead of families taking responsibility for the mental ill in their midst, many call for government to develop a solution through misidentification of the problem. In other words, government should implement some additional forms of gun control leading to gun confiscation to stop mass shootings, while firearms are not the problem or the cause of the problem. Moreover, government cannot solve the problems of increasing mental health issues when it plays a large role in the creation of those issues. It behooves government, particularly those in it, to focus the people's attention to a non-issue, firearms, when the policies and legislation it implements causes the major problems in society. Nothing government does will address the rising criminal element in our republic. Criminals will find a way to break the law regardless. Let me stop right there. Do you necessarily need to be a criminal to break the law? I mean, people throw that word criminal around really easily. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Simply because some of the things we, or not we, the government and its worshipers, some of the things they deem criminal really are just their personal preferences. And that's the problem. That's a problem. Okay. And by the way, I'm not going to lie to you. I have zero problem breaking the law. None whatsoever. In fact, it is an advantage to the government to limit law-abiding citizens through unconstitutional means and use criminals to advance an agenda. Until the government noose is loosened from around the necks of the citizens and the nanny police state abolished, anti-constitutionalists and government will continue the look squirrel method of distraction to prevent focus on who is causing the problem and what exactly that problem is. And this was written by Susan Hammer of Freedom Outpost. These people, I think, intentionally drop the ball on these things to further that that agenda of gun control and ultimately gun confiscation. Now, there has been modern examples of guns being taken and no genocide following, but the large majority of these major bad shit happened afterwards. And I think the United States is very susceptible to that bad shit. Now, just think about it for a minute. What if the good people, the law-abiding slaves, turn in their weapons and groups like Antifa keep theirs? You see where I'm going with this. Antifa becomes the Bolsheviks, or maybe some groups merge together and become the Bolsheviks, or a modern version of, and then start killing people, and now we have no recourse. don't give up your guns, whether it is deemed criminal or not. After all, criminal is just a word. Criminal is just a label. Thought I would discuss this with you all this morning. I think I'm not going to be doing like 5 or anything today. If there's anything important, I'll talk about it. I hope everyone has a good day, though. Remember, kill the state and live free, and live armed.